What do we mean by societal institution?
So would you classify like places that we go to like socialize like school,
Mm-hmm.
church, sometimes I don't know if you'd consider family one. Um
Family, yeah, man, you're correct, very correct.
okay. Okay. School
Social,
different. Yeah. Those
so
places.
societal institution, you mentioned things like church, you said school, the family, anyone else. Good, very good point. Societal institution, you hear the word societal
Sir,
institution, what comes to mind?
sir,
Go ahead for me.
would healthcare be considered as one?
Societal institution, how would it include? Explain, and then I see if we can explain.
I would like to think that, it refers to like hospitals. Hospitals are a necessary part of everyone's life in terms of taking care of the
Mm-hmm.
needs. So I guess that's how healthcare would fall under societal institutions. That's how I would. That's why
I
I
see
would
where
put it as one.
I see where you're going. I understand where you're coming from. Completely understand where you're coming from. Because you see the word societal and you think about social. And under social you have education, health, all of these different stuff. And so you think that, all right,
Sure
not
would.
not 100%. I wouldn't include it as part of it, but I completely understand the link.
Sir,
Go ahead for me.
societal institutions, they teach individuals how to behave in
Mhm.
society.
Yes, yes,
So like school, home, church, etc.
yes. So that's what we mean when we talk about societal institutions. So societal institutions are all the institutions that govern how we behave, right? That set the rules of how we should behave within a defined territorial space. So there are several different institutions that determine how we should behave, right? Generally, I don't think they. So one is the family. That is the first place where we that determines our behavior. Your family. Hmm. Family is very important. Socialization. So family help you to socialize. The primary socialization where you learn values and your norms. First place, you know what is right or wrong, what is accepted or not accepted. Then after that, your family send you to school, education. Education also forms part of societal institution. Religion, some of us are Christian, some of us are Jew, some of us are Muslims or Hindu, and some of us just don't believe in no form of religious stuff. And so all of that dictates, and even people who are not religious, they tend to have some religious things, like they would say that I'm spiritual, or I I believe in love, or they still have some form of force that govern their behavior. And there are other institutions like the political and the justice system. Because if the political system basically makes the rules for the wider society, and the justice system reinforce that rule. Because the justice system is that if you don't behave well, then you could be locked up or something could happen. And so societal institutions are very, very, very important. Now, the first societal institution that we're going to look at today is the family, right? So for today's class, we're looking at the family. Tomorrow's class, you're going to meet with your groups. Thursdays, Wednesday's class, we're going to look at education. The next class we're going, which is Thursday. Wednesday's class, education. Thursday's class, we're going to look at, after education, religion plays a very important role, religion, yes. And the and then on one Monday, I believe, either Monday or Tuesday of next week, we're going to finish up this and we're going to look at the justice system. So I'm asking you please to read ahead. Now, family, somebody could you read this for me, please? What Kevin Thompson et al. What is the
Okay,
family?
sir.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
The primary social unit that socializes infants and children in the morals, values, and practices of the unit and the wider society. It exists as a group of people, usually living under the same roof, related by blood, marriage, or through adoption. Kevin Thompson et al.
Thank you very much. So the definition of the family is that this is where infants and children they are basically socialized. Uh, they usually a family usually live under the same roof. That's the definition. And sometimes there are persons who are adopted in the family through adoption, legal adoption or informal adoption. And anybody know what I mean by the informal adoption?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead for me. Explain to me. Explain for me, please.
Well, I know that a lot of people sometimes take children in from like family members who probably died or are not financially stable. So they keep them and they raise them as if it's their own, so they don't have the actual last name and whole legal setting that and not a legal adoption.
Very good point. So that is one example of it. Now, what are the main functions? So we know for sure what the family is like. What are some of the main functions of the family? What do you expect from your family? Or what has your family provided for you?
Support,
Support. So support is very important. So that is one of the function of the family. Support. You really need your family for support. Yes.
Sir, the family also has an economic function.
Economic function. Very good. Explain that a little for me.
So the economic function of the family is basically that they provide money and other basic needs for the children or like the elder members of the family who can't really afford to buy certain things.
Yes, very good. And some and children are not supposed to work under the law, so they are supposed to take care of the children. So right now, most of you are going to be should be around 18, going into 18 by now. Your parents have a legal right to take care of you right up until you're 18. Yes, they can't put you out. It would be illegal for them to put you outside. Not saying you must respect your family, your parents. So if they say you must wash the dish, don't leave the dishes in the kitchen for 2 to 3 hours. Or you tell your mommy or your father go to the bed and they say, wash the dish. And when they wake up in the morning, the dish is still there and you drop asleep. No, you can't do that. Although they would want to say, threaten you to say, if you can't live by my rules, you need to come out. They can't put you out. Legally, they can't do that. They can't put you out. Even if you are disrespectful, they can't. You're not supposed to be disrespectful. But They have an economic reason to provide for you. They might reduce as a form of punishment. They might reduce certain things. Some people get some children get a little extra money to buy certain things. They might reduce their lunch money as a form of punishment. You want a nice phone, or they might take away the phone from you. But they have an economic responsibility to provide shelter for your food and clothing. So one, economic. So this is the function here that we talk about. Your family is responsible to provide shelter, food, and clothing. Economic responsibility, emotional, love, comfort, care, protection. They're supposed to protect you. Family, another function of the family is reproduction. If people are not procreating or having children, then the society will not go on. So reproduction is a very important function of the family. Socialization. They indoctrinate your, I shouldn't use the word indoctrination, but your family tell you that they teach you the culture and the norms and values and practices and religion and politics. You're religious. Most of us are uh, in a particular religion or denomination because we grew up like that. We grew up either Pentecostal, Seventh day Adventist, Anglican, Methodist. You didn't choose. From your born, you're going to the Methodist or Anglican or Seventh day Adventist church. And you decide that you're going to accept the faith and you believe everything. Socialization. So they socialize it to think that that particular denomination is the correct denomination. Politics. Right now, you might say, that, "Oh, I'm not interested in politics," but deep down, if you should get the decision, if you should go and vote, you're going to vote along the discussions that you hear in your house, or the discussions that your parents have over the phone. Am I wrong or am I right?
Sorry, you have a
It's true, sir.
Yes. So some discussions you hear over the phone, your parents support a particular political party. And every time you watch the news, first of all, you're not even interested in the news. But every time they see a particular political party on the news, their parents then get upset and they start talk some things about the party. Deep in your back of your mind, that's deep into your psyche, and you support the party. You support them. So a lot of people in Jamaica, they are PMP because their parents PMP and their parents PMP. And people JLP because their parents JLP. And if you grow up in a household that people don't vote, you grow up and you just don't vote. You follow your parents. You never see an election, your parents go out and vote yet. You're not going out. Socialization. And it's socialization is not really somebody coming and tell you exactly what to do, but by observation and how you see your family members operate, it helps to socialize you. And my son is 2 years old. My wife is a university lecturer. I am a teacher. All about the place is books. And right now, my son is 2. I went to the daycare. This was before COVID. I went to the daycare to pick him up. And I go to the daycare. I said, "But Everybody I play with my son them. I wonder if something happened. He was in a corner with his little ABC book, spinning the little pages. And even sometime right now him take up him little book because he always see us around books. So he's always in his little stuff reading. Right now in the computer. I'm on the computer. See this the 2 weeks that we had the exam for, I gave it well. My wife allow him to watch cartoons on the desktop. And because on the desktop he can control and can repeat the same cartoons that he likes. Um, and he see us on the computer, and then when the computer, he thinks it's like a phone. He might touch the little stuff, expecting the cartoons to change. He don't know yet, so you have to use the mouse. And so socialization is very, very important aspect of the family. In the Caribbean, ladies, so we look at what is the family, the functions of the family. In the Caribbean, we have many different forms of uh, Caribbean families. One is a nuclear family, which is the wife, the husband, and the child or the children. So this is the nuclear. In the Caribbean, we also have the extended family, live under the same roof. These are people that live under the same roof. So you have the mother, father, children, grandparents, and some families are very, very extended because sometimes you have brother, sister, uncle, everybody living the same under the same roof, right? Very, very extended family. So you have nuclears in the Caribbean, we find nuclear families. We have extended families. We have single parent families. You have female who are the single parent, say the children, and they live with the children. I think this is one of the most popular families more in the Caribbean. Then you have some families, you have the male who is the father and he lives with the children, right? So single parent. Then you have another family in the Caribbean that is called the visiting family. The visiting family, the woman lives with her children separately from the father. So the male and the female, they are still together. They are still together. They are still in a relationship. But the father lives elsewhere, the female lives elsewhere, and the male usually visits the home. Him go by the house, him getting breakfast, him getting lunch, him getting dinner. But when it reaches certain time of the night, he's going to go to his home. Visiting him, come by and him visit. Anybody know of any situation of that, visiting family? Very prevalent in Jamaica. Anybody else ever heard of a visiting family?
Sir, I've never heard of it, but when I used to live abroad, I used to live with my mother and my sister, and my father still lived in Jamaica, so he would visit occasionally.
Perfect example of it. Perfect example. That's a visiting. Yes. Anybody else? And blended family. So you have mommy. Let us see if I can get a better picture of this. So you have daddy, mommy, stepdad. The blended families were partners with children from previous relationships. So and they so So partners, so for example, you have the this mom and this stepdad and the child come and live and his children come and live. It's blended. So from previous relationship, they had their children, but the children come and live with them. So it's blended. All of these different type family types. So the Caribbean family is very complex. We have nuclear, we have extended, we have single parent, we have visiting, we have blended. Then the other one, common law union. Not every man and woman that live together, they are married. But they live together and they are committed to each other. But they don't go into a church and they get married. Common law union, very, very popular in Jamaica and the entire Caribbean, I should say. But right now, a lot of countries have passed laws to recognize common law marriages. And so the same benefit that the husband and wife has, if the woman should live with the man for 5 years, 5 to 7 years, she entitled to his possession if he should die. And if they are going to separate, they have to split the asset 50-50. You know that, ladies? Is the first
Sir,
time you're hearing about common law union?
I didn't
No,
know that they
sir.
did.
Repeat.
Oh, I was saying I didn't know that they have to split it in common.
Yes, you have to split. It's not only marriage, when the marriage break up, you split 50-50. In the common law union, if they live together for 5 to 7 years, at the end of the separation, if she decides that she's gonna take legal action, she get legal action and the court will sell everything and they have to separate it 50-50 because both of you live together for 5 to 7 years. That is almost all of your life. And to buy everything together. And then after a relationship end, he just want to tell you to leave. No, sir. That's not how the world set up. And because of that reality, what was taking place in the Caribbean, where a lot of females would have lived with some males for 15 and 20 years, but they were not legally married. And out of the blues, the man see another woman and him like the woman and him gone to the next woman and him ready now to put out the lady that he lived with for 15, 20 years. You leave her to get nothing. The government of the Caribbean now put laws in place to protect her. So if she spend all her life and cook, ensure she cook for him, wash his clothes, she try to look up money and ensure that him financially stable. When he goes to work, him come back and give some money and you put some in a saving account, and then after a period of time he decide that he's going to leave you. The government said no, that can't happen. You can leave, but it must split. Common law union. There are some factors that affects the Caribbean families or the historical. So let us look at the historical factors of the Caribbean family. So the Amerindians, they live pretty much simple. We know that the male and the female live together and live together. Some of the indigenous groups, they live in separate homes. Some indigenous groups allow the males to have more than one wives. And then the whites came and they brought to the Caribbean during the colonial period, because colonial period is divided into two parts. You have pre-emancipation, this is before slavery ended, and post-emancipation after slavery ended. So the colonial era is divided into two periods. So during the pre-emancipation period, this is before slavery ended, you had whites were the ones who brought nuclear families that they married. And then during slavery, enslaved Africans, they were not permitted to get married. They could not, it was illegal for them in some territories or most territories. And then there was quite a lot of visiting family taking place during slavery, because enslaved people across estates develop relationships. And so the enslaved male at times, sometimes when they ran away for a very short period, they went to visit their family living on another estate. And even though they could not get married in a church, the enslaved people found different ways in which they got married. You know, one example is jumping the broom. That was their way of showing that they got married, by jump over a broom. When you jump over a broom in front of everybody, everybody know that that's my wife, or that's my husband. And so in slavery, that was one of the issue. Visiting family took place, and a lot of matrifocal homes, meaning females-headed homes, took place during slavery, because the males just left. Well, the males were separated, forcefully separated from their families, because in Africa, Africa is very big on family. But when they came to the New World, they were separated. And so during slavery, we have all of these different family problems. Father absenteeism emerged. And then when the indentured workers came, the Chinese and the Indians, you have a lot of extended family relations in the Caribbean, where you have arranged marriages now. In these Chinese and Indian homes, you have patriarchy, where the male had dominance. And then when we turn to the independence period, we have a lot of single parent homes. Most of the single parents were matrifocal, meaning female-headed households. Nuclear families, very ideal today. And we have legislations that have been passed to recognize common law union. This is the state of how the Caribbean family has historically been in the Caribbean. And there are several different factors affecting the Caribbean family: migration, poverty, health, cancer separates family, HIV, a lot of different diseases, crime. People lose their fathers, their mother because of crime. Some father just leave the family and just don't want to take care of the children. Father absenteeism, very, very big in the Caribbean. And so these are some of the different ways, right? Is it that you're saying, Melissa, male marginalization?
Yes, sir.
Yes, is another problem that affects the Caribbean family. And so the Caribbean family is very complex, very, very complex. Lot of factors affecting the family. And you don't always stick in one type of family, because you can move from single parent to blended. And then right now in the Caribbean, where you have, what do you call it, fertility issues, You have husband and wife that live together and they don't have children, but they can't because of medical issues. So it's a lot of things affecting the Caribbean family. So when we meet again on meet in your groups tomorrow, when we meet again on Wednesday, we're going to look at education. Please read the textbook, ladies. All right? Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Is it morning still? Enjoy the rest of the morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
You
you,
Thank you,
too.
sir.
sir.
Same to
Bye,
you.
sir.
Bye bye.